Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4 with Black Ice, and of course we're playing with Japan this series. Very much an Imperial Japan. Officially basically known as the Empire of Japan. Let's start shifting some of these forces. Yeah, come on. Over here. Now, one thing that I really like the concept of with oh no, I keep in the wrong spot there. Here. With this game is training units. But the thing that right now that we're doing a treaty here. Okay, end of the Spanish Civil War. Is oh no, I should have taken the train. Is equipment loss, because right now I'm still, do I, I'm a negative. Well, it's not. Oh, we need some sniper rifles here. So equipment and storage. So we'll look for those. But like infantry guns for our marine units, we need, and even just regular rifles. We're only 1,000 plus rifles over requirement. So I'm worried about if I train them up, I'm going to lose rifles. When, let's face it, we're facing the Chinese army here. We're not going after, U.S. Marine divisions. Do we really need to introduce cavalry equipment to do that one? And infantry guns. Do we really need to train up to fight the Chinese army, or simply fighting the Chinese army will train us? Yes, combat losses do affect units. So if you go in and you have a lot of battles and you have 50-60% combat losses, I don't think you're going to really catch up to being better trained. But if excuse me, if you just have minor levels of losses for any particular unit, you will improve your training for sure. Okay, let's see. We have one carrier of the Shoho class. Gonna be a while, so let's start production. Class. No. So that's sort of why I don't. Yes, in the Spanish Civil War, Amelia Earhart disappears. Why I don't train my units is just that I don't normally feel flush enough with extra equipment that I just want to do that. Okay, we yet have any experience to prove these things. Okay, this we also one of convoys and destroyers we want to keep producing submarines. To get a good number out there. Fighter workshop's good. Let's build some truck factories. Repair defense. Excuse me. Take a drink. Yes, it's always nice to prepare your defense. Let's grand assault. Imperial austerity. Leadership purges in the Soviet Union. And industrial effect. Yes, we will do this. Uniform factory maybe, but got a lot of factories concentrated, so let's go with signals. Lots of workshops there. Okay, now, fighters and ship factories we want to do. Now, got all the 37 techs there. Ground support. That'll be useful in China. Artillery to kill. Okay, I still don't know whether those are really useful for us or not on the math. And so they're going to be concentrating their army here. Depends on how this thing kicks off. Like I said, the last game I played, China actually declared war on me, and so it just stayed between me and China. I suspect it, well, I don't know, maybe it was 38 when I started it. I don't know, maybe something will do that again, but it may be that I start the war, which I think will trigger the warlord states, I should say. Which they weren't really quite that anymore, but they were some. Okay, better shipyards. So we are increasing our production here. Well, we don't look like we have any light cruisers, so we can lower production. Keep them there. Skills and training, that's good here. Really help out our production speed. You know, factory output 2%, that's nice, and 2.5% for efficiency retention, it's good. Lack of organization loss, that's nice. There's a lot of nice things here, even there. I just... no tanks yet. Got radios. Reconnaissance. 30 some days. Yeah, let's improve submarine operations. Gotta remember that we're a naval power. We're an island, so we're not going to be a huge land power. We do have the war with China coming up. But we're not Germany, we're not Russia, we're not France. Yeah. Industrial effort. Great. Truck workshops. Okay. Put some artillery and truck production. Get those spread around a bit. Okay, we got this industrial effort, which is good. Industrial research effort, bonus to industry, synthetic. That can also be useful. We really don't want to do Fortress Japan, at least not at the moment, because I don't think anybody's going to be invading us. Let's do the southern expansion start here. And we can improve our government setup. Okay, well. I think where it says by selecting this design company they will be permanently, I think that's left over from the standard, because I think unless it's changed back again, maybe it has, I don't know, because I look here and it doesn't give that. But maybe it's just because it's that one. Maybe somebody can enlighten me, I don't know. For a while at least, which I disagree with the concept, is that this focus shifts build costs or effective reliability just for current production, and it's not a permanent for when researched. Because see, like all the HEs, yeah, whatever. Okay. So I don't know that we want to do that. Motorization, research time, small arms research time. Well, we're not doing a lot of that. Now, military theories. Land doctrine research and army experience gain. That's a good one, but I think what we're going to do is division training time here. Put him in charge of the army so that we build army up that much quicker. I've talked to in the forums in various times and very much expressed my, shall we say, dislike of the sort of progression element here of that system of adding ministers and adding things like that. Not that every slot should be filled. You know, obviously clear examples would be no naval filling, at least at start, no naval slots for Hungary because it has no coastline even though it's ruled by an admiral. I guess you could also put Horthy in charge of the Navy too, but it's a non-existent. So, you know, you can look at some nations that just, at least at start of the period, shouldn't have anybody in there. Then there's also just the idea that even though they had a historically maybe have had a industrial companies and you want to have them there, but they weren't very prominent, weren't very big, so that they weren't very much of a thing in 36. So you're looking at the idea of, we need more naval bombers. That's a definite need here. So, any in production. Okay. That'll be these guys, I believe, here. So let's put them in production. Okay, construction level 2. I again want to go over to resource efficiency, or resource gain efficiency. Do that. Because that will help us on critical things like oil, or others that we have. Resources here in Japan. Things like steel that are of limited amounts that we control directly. I think Japan should have cores on Korea and Taiwan. I know these are just you're getting 3 of the 4, so it's not a huge penalty, but and what Stiv, I guess is how you would pronounce it, pointed out that there were 1 million Japanese fleeing Manchukuo at the end of the war, in the face of the Soviet invasion, civilians back to Japan as part of Japan's, shall we say, civil occupancy of Manchukuo. And yeah, but I guess my point still stands that Japan wasn't looking to replace the population with the Japanese population. I don't know long term what they really thought they were doing. It's sort of like, hey, wouldn't it be great if someone could afford unlimited amount of first-class air travel for the rest of their life at any whim? That it's like you get a free boarding pass. You can do it at your whim. It never costs you any more or any less. So yeah, hey, I'm that rich now. After a while, you're going to go, damn, I wish I had a private jet. That'd be so much better than just having to do a first class. And then, hey, I wish I had a private jet that could fly transatlantic without refueling. And so, as circumstances change, goals and objectives that may have seemed impossible may start to seem like something that you can now achieve. And so I can definitely see the idea that Japan in 1936 or 1937 sees something as, oh, we could never do that. Then after crushing victories around the Pacific, goes, hey, we can do anything we want to, so now we're going to do something entirely different. But I really just don't see the mentality. And again, I may be very wrong about this, because I've taken some Japanese, but never got into katakana, being able to read it. And so, I can recognize a few of the symbols when I spot them. It's definitely gotten less over the years, but so maybe there's a lot of posters and newspaper articles and whatever that I just haven't consumed, because that was talking about that we need to open up. I'm not just talking about some writer in some newspaper. I'm talking about real government plans, or a writer who really does have the ear of the leadership, really does have plans for opening major colonies of transporting large communities, not just a few professional class type people, but large communities into either, because there were a lot of Japanese living definitely in Korea, but either more into Korea or into Manchuria or into Chinese occupied, there are other parts of China. There may have been, but I just don't know of it. I just don't see it in that form. Definitely, like I say, maybe an exploitation class might be a good way to look at that they may be doing. But they were setting up this, and it does say the Empire of Manchukuo. At some point, if this gets big enough, it's less and less of a puppet. Now, they were really trying to keep this as a puppet, but long term, I don't know how long that would stay, because you're getting more and more organization there. Now, so like here, Japan had been around for a while, had this relatively well organized up, and sure, the local Koreans weren't trying their hardest for their Japanese overlords. I'm sure they weren't. But I don't know that the lack of cores should be something here or here. I know I modded Black Ice with TRE because I was playing one game that spawned communist Chinese rebels here for the AI. I was playing as Germany. So no. There was no way that you were going to get a spawning of that in Taiwan, even if the AI moves all of your main combat forces off the island. There was enough, I don't know, police and other local controls, so I made an event, Taiwan is Japanese or something like that, that just at least temporarily removed Chinese cores and made it Japanese cores, just so that you wouldn't have, mostly to go because of stupid AI removing all troops so that it could go into revolt risk. So not saying that for occupation purposes they didn't need the Kampai, the military police or whatever, occupying the island. But I don't know that they needed divisions holding down the island, or that would immediately start sparking off local revolts. That's sort of my view of those two countries. Getting a bit different. And there was sort of a Japanese occupation zone here, my understanding, and this isn't just an AI, but I think it is also an AI type thing, that this is Japanese territory, so Japan defend it instead of letting China crush Manchukuo. Okay, so yeah. So you're looking at the resources. I still think Japan should get a little better out of those two. Different than other places, but in fact, we want to continue to expand our resource gain from our direct possessions. Because at some point, it is very likely in this game that we will be faced with a major naval opponent. And we are building up our convoy. Started out with 900, now we have 940. And 41 there. So that we will be taking losses there, but we also want to make sure that we have as much resources as we can in the territories that we control. The aircraft. One factory is great. Now, I think we have more than enough sniper rifles. How many do we have here? Sniper section. Okay, we have over almost 2,000. So what we're going to do here is go down to one factory there and up to 2 here because we need more infantry guns and they take more to make. Okay, so we have one automobile, a couple of artillery, small arms, got a few of those. Uniform factories, got a few light aircraft, heavy aircraft. We just have the one, let's make another one. I want to get my need some submarine manufacturers, shipyards. I want to make sure we're be able to make a lot of land-based naval bombers efficiently and effectively. Okay, well, let's go with level 2 sub-productions. Let's go with the uniform workshop. Yes, light aircraft. The biggest jump is sort of the first of those levels, but getting additional ones helps. And yes, I know I'm still building the junk early models of some of the fighters. Maybe it would have been a good time to fight through the efficiency, but I just want volume to start off with here now. Okay. Artillery factories, good. Yeah, let's do improvements. Yes, we want to have control of the airspace effectively.
Hit it!
So how are we doing? Where's our infantry guns? Okay, yeah, we're still way behind on those. Vehicle factories, that's good. Okay, a lot of stuff happening. Anglo-Irish trade war ends, we're good. Expansion of the Nagasaki shipyards. The Kudo works. Kude. Or Kube. Oh, Kobe. Kobe. Oh man, why am I reading it wrong? Not paying attention. Okay, Kobe. We want to do that. Yeah, let's go with the Army Theorist. trying to think ships here. What do we want to do more? Well, submarines are sort of useful for controlling a volume of space out there, not just convoy raiding. Aircraft anymore. Artillery, there'll be some of that though. When I get to modding this, I'm definitely going to be having some events during this time period that will add Navy and air experience. And because they were definitely doing research, they should definitely have some of those benefits, but they may not be, you know, but when you're dealing with events like that, it's obviously people can cheat. They can always cheat if they want to cheat, but it's set up so that you can't like just press the button and constantly get more research for nothing, or even if the event may give some research for nothing, or may have a cost of say 10 political points, and that may be, you know, got to sort of balance it out to some degree. You can't hit them with 50 when Japan barely has enough, so you have to look at that. Either you have to give a national spirit here that adds political power, and then periodically hit that political power costs and events, and you can make it a choice, not just obviously this is a pure benefit based on something that we've you know, decided to build, so we already made the decision for this. But when you're doing the decision, you can do, you know, increase naval research costs, you know, like I say, maybe make a national spirit that's adding a bit more political power, cost 20 political power points, or no thank you, and you felt you needed to use that political power to subvert another nation, or whatever it might be, you know, in the game you may have other uses for it, but it's not like you're constantly able to hit yes more, yes more, yes more. You just do some to represent ongoing naval or ongoing aircraft research. Just thinking about it with these here, with each one of these various factory levels, do it, I'd at least do 10 experience points. Whether, you know, if it's an army type factory, you know, for tanks, put it there. If it's a naval one, I'd put it there, and if it's an air, I'd put it there. So that may be something someone might want to bring up with the Black Ice team. That's just because they could easily add, you know, each time you go up a level, just throw in naval or air experience based on it. At least that would be what I would consider doing. Just giving you my thoughts on how I would mod things and how I work my, you know, thinking on Austria. Now this one definitely should have a worldwide notification. When again, you know, talking about how I'm modding stuff. So far for Third Reich events, all of my stuff, I have made 0 things that have a, you know, a global newspaper headline. I've redone the Hindenburg thing that it always goes up. I don't like the maybe it doesn't of Paradox did, and so that would still trigger that, but I have not done any more. And it's not that I don't like them or don't want to. I like them and I want to use them, but I've yet to go through all of my events and see which ones are worthy of international notice. I know a few people would like to have every single event that happens sort of show up on their plate to just sort of see that it's happening. And there's definitely an appeal to that, but I sort of look like if I throw 500 or 600 German event sets at players, and they're playing China or they're playing Japan with Third Reich events installed, because it's more realistic and some of those events may affect other parts of it, they'd be overwhelmed, I would think, with German events. And especially long term, if you look at it, and now you have 2 or 3 of country pack event packs all going at once, and you may have the Japanese, the Rising Sun events going whilst having Third Reich events going. It'd just become overwhelming is how I look at that. So I generally don't want to do everything for a international headline. Now, some of the events and things that I've gotten for have specifically been taken from like the Los Angeles Times of the period. So they were reported. Now, most of these things aren't the headline of the newspaper. They're just making the front page, but down in the bottom I found stories that going on, often because I started looking for one thing and about it, and then found also at that date they also reported this and they reported something else, and so they all became events, and they were all interesting enough. And these are stuff talking about Germany or what's going on in Europe and related to it. So they are being reported internationally, but they're not headlines. So I sort of want to balance that out. So big things like the Olympics happening. I know I commented in earlier, I think it was the first episode here, that all of the events, and I made the original ones that ended up in black ice, though I don't like how they've been changed, by at least the photos. I would not make all of those events headline events for the Winter Olympics. That was the sort of immersion level of what was going on with the Winter Olympics for Germany. Not that I would do a one newspaper head notification that the Winter Olympics is happening. Do that. I would definitely do that, but I wouldn't go beyond doing that for that. And obviously you might do a bit more for the Summer Olympics. The 1936 Summer Olympics was a big thing. I've seen it showing up in several movies that were made in 36, 37 in America, including a Charlie Chan movie. So now they didn't go film in Germany for the Charlie Chan movie. They had no budget to do that, but they used stock footage and took a Zeppelin ride, and which obviously is not on a real Zeppelin, but on a sound stage. But they sort of made out as if Charlie Chan was in Berlin for the Olympics. So it's a real big thing, and with Jesse Owens, so I could see 2, maybe 3 global headlines for the 36 World Olympics, but that's pushing max there, where I'm thinking I haven't really, partly because Black Ice for Hearts of Iron 3 did a decent job with the Olympics, the Summer Olympics, and so I've sort of made a few event images, but never really got to making the events for Third Reich events. That I'm probably looking at, I don't know, somewhere between 6 and 12 events, with a 1 or 2 in the event chain to sort of check out, meaning, hey, I've already seen this through last 3 playthroughs. I don't need to go through it all again, kind of, part way through it. So people are getting tired of it, but there's a lot of interesting detail that I think German players would find interesting about it. And so it's looking at that. So that just gives you some of my views. And that's part of the reason I think some of you are here, is because I am a modder and I'm modding these things. And like, hey, started out in Third Reich events, ended up in Black Ice for Hearts of Iron 3, and now is ended up in Black Ice for Hearts of Iron 4. Some of the stuff I do has effects outside of my specific mods. So just give you some insight on how and why I'm thinking. And of course, I do want you to comment on it if you have a comment, because I want feedback. If you think, I don't know, that you really want everything a headline, maybe I can make a version for that. Or though, because you have to make a different graphic image, I probably wouldn't do that. But just what levels of stuff you think should be headlines. Obviously, Anschluss with Austria should be a global headline, but how far down? Because I do want that kind of feedback, where you think I'm wrong or right. Though I'm almost more interested in where you think I'm wrong, because I need to sort of learn what people are thinking and why I'm thinking differently. Okay, well, at that point, I want to thank all of you for watching. I want to thank you for liking the videos. And like I was saying, please post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas on any topic. And if you have a specific point to make about a specific thing in any one of my videos, I want to do a reminder here that you can, right click on the video itself, and you can, one of the choices is copy video URL at this point, and you can post that in your question or comment, because sometimes, and this is not just about this video, but any of the videos, even if it's the first day that it's up, because maybe 2 or 3 days ago, and I think I know what you're talking about, but maybe if it's not 100% clear and you don't maybe want to take the time to fully describe it, so just go, hey, at this point, what were you talking about X? And so if you just have that time chop, it's easy for me to quickly go find it, but it's also easy for somebody else reading the comments to see exactly what you're talking about. So if you have, or correction about when you were talking about, a lot of stuff come up about the Erie Canal in the first episode, and people have been commenting on it, and obviously we all know what, when you just say Erie Canal, I know what you're talking about in the section. But if it's a little more obscure or something like that, you can easily point, hey, when you were saying this in the video, it was giving the right, you can give the right date or whatever. It just makes it easier for everybody to reference it, and I do appreciate that when you do that. So that's just a general reminder for any of the series, new or old. You can use that when commenting, especially if you're finding this video a week, a month, a year after it was made. I forgot what I said in this particular video. I may generally what I talked about, but over time you got to remind me the point I was making, and then I'll know what's going on. So thanks so much. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.